I still can't believe that Arrow just wrapped up its 8th and final season. Based off the DC Comics superhero Green Arrow, this live-action television series debuted in the CW back in 2012, acting as the first installment of their DC television multiverse, appropriately known as the Arrowverse. It's funny, I actually didn't watch Arrow when it originally debuted. I heard decent things about this series, along with the big complaint about this version of Green Arrow being a little too similar to Batman personality-wise. I mean, both Batman and Green Arrow are billionaires that fight crime without any superpowers, but still. I ultimately got into the Arrowverse via The Flash, which debuted in the CW in 2014. I felt like The Flash did a good job with capturing the spirit of the comic book character. The Flash's crossovers with Arrow ultimately convinced me to give the original Arrowverse series a shot, and overall I enjoyed it. I think now would be a good time to discuss my thoughts on the entire series. First off, Season 1. Although I could tell that the writers are trying to make this version of Green Arrow more like Batman, the former character didn't feel like a carbon copy of the latter one. Bruce Wayne willingly left Gotham City to travel and train to become the Dark Knight that we all know and love. Just like his comic book counterpart, Oliver Queen was presumed dead after an accident in the ocean, more on that later, and he returned a changed man. I liked how Season 1 was mostly Oliver patrolling Starling City as the Hood, taking down various corrupt businessmen from his late father's list, with Oliver's crusade later expanding to include his bodyguard, John Diggle, and Felicity Smoke, an IT specialist at Queen Consolidated. I also liked seeing Oliver's struggles in Lian Yu via flashbacks, along with him reconnecting with his friends and family in the present day. I thought Malcolm Merlyn, aka the Dark Archer, was a pretty good villain. He's the father of Oliver's best friend, Tommy, and Green Arrow's archenemy in the comics. I especially found his motivations to be very sympathetic. Most people consider Season 2 to be Arrow's best season, and I agree. I think it was the most natural progression in this series. We had Oliver redubbing his vigilante alter ego into the Arrow, making a vow to only kill as a last resort. We had Diggle working more alongside Argus, leading to the Arrowverse debut of the Suicide Squad. Team Arrow expanded to include Roy Harper, the boyfriend of Oliver's younger sister, Thea, and Sarah Lance, the younger sister of Oliver's ex-girlfriend, Laurel, and the vigilante known as the Canary. This season also directly set up The Flash, with Team Arrow working alongside Barry Allen for a couple episodes. I thought Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, was an amazing villain. He was introduced as an ally of Oliver's halfway through the Season 1 flashbacks, and this season's flashbacks showed how their friendship tragically ended, leading to their fight in the present day. I like how this season finale complemented the previous one. Season 1 ended with Oliver appearing to kill Merlyn, but failing to stop the Dark Archer's undertaking. Not to mention that Season 2 confirmed that Merlyn was still alive. Season 2, on the other hand, ends with Oliver defeating Slade, but without killing him, leading to the citizens of Starling City to start viewing the Arrow as a hero. Season 3 was a disappointment compared to Season 2. Don't get me wrong, there were still things I liked, specifically seeing Roy and Laurel adopt their comic book superhero aliases of Arsenal and Black Canary, respectively, along with the Arrowverse debut of Ray Palmer, aka the Atom, but there were also a lot of things that I disliked. I didn't like how Laurel chose to hide Sarah's death from her father, Quentin, and when he ultimately finds out, he quickly reverts back to his Season 1 self, trying to take Oliver down for his vigilantism. The flashbacks were kinda boring. Oliver was off Lian Yu and doing missions for Argus in Hong Kong. I also didn't like this version of Ra's al Ghul. I get that Green Arrow has a relatively small rogues gallery compared to other DC superheroes, which is why I didn't mind his Arrowverse rogues gallery being a mix of Green Arrow villains and lesser-known Batman villains, but I don't like the idea of a major Batman villain like Ra's al Ghul being the season-wide antagonist of a Green Arrow TV series. I understand the writer's reasoning. Both comic book and Arrowverse versions of Merlyn were members of the League of Assassins, but still. In addition, I thought that Arrowverse Ross was a boring, carbon copy of the Dark Knight trilogy version of the character. there was nothing that made me care for him at all. Most people consider Season 4 to be Arrow's worst season, and I completely agree. I think the biggest positive from this season was seeing Oliver finally start fighting crime as Green Arrow. But thanks to the League of Assassins ruining the Arrow's reputation, leading to Roy turning himself in and faking his death, this transition doesn't feel as smooth as the transition from the Hood to the Arrow. Okay, I didn't mind seeing Thea and Diggle going out in the field as Speedy and Spartan respectively, even though the latter's helmet reminded me a little too much of Magneto. Damien Darhk was slightly better than Ra's al Ghul, but that's only because the leader of Hive has a sense of humor. The flashbacks were also pretty boring. They were just depicting Oliver returning to Lian Yu to complete a mission for Amanda Waller. And of course, I have to talk about Olicity. Honestly, I genuinely couldn't see the Arrowverse having a Green Arrow, Black Canary romance. After all, Arrow established that Oliver cheated on Laurel several times, including an affair with Sarah. I think Oliver and Felicity could have worked if the writers took their time to develop it, and didn't make it the focus of several episodes. I don't like how Felicity stayed mad at Oliver over things that weren't in his control. Come to think of it, Damien Darhk killing Laurel during the season was the final nail in the coffin, as it completely got rid of any chance of a Green Arrow, Black Canary romance. I still don't like this death because Black Canary was the one big thing connecting Arrowverse Oliver Queen to his comic book counterpart. Season 5 was a great return to form. I liked seeing Oliver training a new Team Arrow. I didn't find any of the recruits annoying at all. I also liked how the Green Arrow suit was redesigned to have sleeves. It's a subtle tribute to his original suit from the first 3 seasons. The flashbacks are pretty cool. They depict Oliver's time in Russia as a member of the Bratva. Prometheus was an amazing villain. I like how he's created by Oliver's actions in the present-day storyline, specifically during the events of Season 1. I appreciate how he was introduced as the loyal, honest district attorney Adrian Chase, only for the mask to slip off after his identity is revealed, turning him into a horrible monster. The final battle in Lian Yu is also very entertaining. I like how Oliver had to recruit several antagonists to help him stop Prometheus once and for all. Season 6 was kinda mediocre. Don't get me wrong, it had good moments. There was Diggle briefly replacing Oliver's Green Arrow, the 2-episode story arc that brought back Deathstroke, the redemption of Black Siren, who was Laurel's Earth 2 doppelganger first introduced in The Flash, and Thea and Quentin's respective send-offs. Other than those things, it could have been a lot better. Season 5 ended with Prometheus bombing Lian Yu, and we didn't know if the rest of Team Arrow made it out alive. Season 6 reveals that everyone survived except for Samantha Clayton, the mother of Oliver's son, William. I also found the main storyline against Caden James and his crime syndicate to be kind of meandering. Oliver slowly pushing the rest of Team Arrow away didn't help either. Okay, I did like how it fixed Oliver's transition from the Arrow to the Green Arrow by Oliver first revealing that they were the same person, and then revealing that said person was himself all along. I thought Season 7 was pretty good. I liked the initial storyline of Oliver going to prison for being a vigilante, reuniting with villains from earlier seasons. That final battle between Oliver and Ricardo Diaz was amazing. I also liked seeing Team Arrow getting deputized by the SCPD. The flash forwards are pretty cool. They were set in the year 2040, chronicling the adventures of the Canaries, a successor to Team Arrow consisting of older versions of William Clayton, Zoe Ramirez, the daughter of Renee Ramirez, aka Wild Dog, Connor Hawk, the son of Ben Turner, aka Bronze Tiger, and Mia Smoke, Oliver and Felicity's daughter. My only complaint about this season was with its season-wide antagonist, Emiko Adachi. She's Oliver's other half-sister, and the current Red Arrow in the comics. I wouldn't really call her a bad antagonist like Ra's al Ghul or Damien Darhk, but I personally liked how she was initially set up as a copycat Green Arrow trying to avenge her mother's death. I understand why she resented the Queens, but I wish she didn't stay as a villain until the finale. Now, on to Season 8. I thought this was an interesting final season. This was actually the shortest season of Arrow, as it was only 10 episodes long. In case you're wondering, the first 6 seasons were 23 episodes each, and Season 7 was 22 episodes. I like how the first 7 episodes paid tribute to various storylines from across the first 7 seasons, with Oliver completing missions for the Monitor, setting the stage for the Arrowverse adaptation of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think my favorite part was seeing the Canaries traveling back in time and teaming up with the present-day Team Arrow. Episode 8 was Part 4 of Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I already did a full review of this year's Arrowverse crossover, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. Episode 9 was a backdoor pilot to Green Arrow and the Canaries, a proposed sequel series continuing the adventures of Mia Smoke, now Mia Queen, as the Green Arrow of 2040. I thought it was interesting, but I don't think it was wise to set up several cliffhangers for a show that the CW didn't greenlight yet. Episode 10 was a great series finale. I liked seeing more fallout from Crisis, including all the timeline changes, and I thought every surviving character had great endings for their respective storylines. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on the entirety of Arrow. Although I'm sad to see this show go, I thought it had a good run, and I'm glad it went out on its own terms. Hello, I see that you have reached the end of this video. If you liked what you just saw, you can give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter at DialogueNerdy. If you really want to, you can also ring the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video.